Hey guys, with Mocktober coming up, it seemed like a good idea to make a quick primer on how to use MTG.Design to make Magic the Gathering cards. I think MTG.Design is the quickest and easiest way to make a professional looking Magic the Gathering card render that you can put on social media like on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or wherever you'd like. So with that said, let's hop into it. So first things first, you're going to want to go to MTG.Design. In the top left, you should see a button labeled Join. Click that, you should get to something like this. You can put in a username, you can put in an email address, click the register button. It should send an email to the email address you put in with a link for setting up your account. That should have a prompt for setting your password and stuff like that. Once you've done that, you go to login, you put in the password like this, and it should spit you out on your homepage. So this is my homepage. There's a bunch of cards because I've made a lot of cards on MTG.Design. You should see the Create New Card button here and the Create button in the top left. Click that and you should get to something that looks a little bit like this, minus the card here. This is just an old render. So yeah, let's hop into it. You've got a bunch of fields here. These are just things that will change how the card looks when it renders. If we render this right now, we're just going to get a generic creature card with no color and no name. So let's make a knockoff Llanowar Elves. How about? Shmanowar Elves, costs a green. Ours is an elf wizard though, let's say. So we've got the type line here as well. You can set this to any sort of thing. You can make an artifact creature, and you could have an enchantment creature. Any of those will change how the card frame looks. We're just going to have a regular creature, though. Let's make ours uncommon. You can change the rarity here. I think special might be that purple mana symbol, but I'm not positive. You don't need to worry about special frames or the color indicator unless you're doing some more complicated stuff, and I trust you to fiddle with those on your own. The rules text, this syntax just means how you do stuff like mana symbols or how you italicize keywords, things like that. This bracketed thing is a pretty common thing for making cards in general or for looking stuff up on Scryfall. Basically what it means is when you put brackets around something, that's a symbol. So we're going to do an example of this. Let's say that it costs 1 and tap this in order to activate its ability instead of just tapping it. And let's say it makes blue and green. So yeah, that's our mana ability on this Llanowar Elves. Let's give it a flavor text too. And let's set the power and toughness. Let's make it to 0-1 because it's kind of a rip-off, so it's not as good as the real deal. That gives us everything we need for a basic render without any art or anything. This is going to look a little bit plain Jane as far as things go, but it's definitely workable. This is definitely the sort of thing that I've put up on my Twitter for Mocktober previously. You can do stuff for card art as well, but this is the simplest way to do things. Yeah, so that's our card render with the most basic sort of formatting. Let's get into some of the more advanced stuff. If you have a big card set, you can do stuff like numbers. So you could have like number 1, 2, 3 out of 4, 5, 6. The set is just elf. It's an elf set apparently. We could add a super type like snow if we wanted to. I'm not going to mess with frame treatments right now because that's a little bit silly for this. Centering is just if you wanted to have something like those fancy Wrath of God cards where it's got just destroy all creatures in the center with no flavor text or anything else. It looks pretty impressive. Text size, sometimes if you have a long card, you'll need to fiddle a little bit with text size because sometimes there's a little bit of clipping where like long text will clip into the text box of power toughness on creatures. You don't usually need to worry about it, so that's not something that we're going to bother with here. Usually it automatically sets text size really, really well. It's only a couple small edge cases where you have to fiddle with it. All right, let's get the artwork URL for Llanowar Elves. And this is just the image cropping if you have advanced features on MTG.Design. I don't think that regular users have access to that zoom stuff yet, but you don't need to worry about stuff like that anyway. If you just get an image and put it in, most of the time it'll look pretty good on the crop. This is Kev Walker, so make sure you credit the artist that you use when you're going to use art. It's just kind of a polite thing to do. It's nice to be able to have people who are curious be able to look them up, even if you aren't doing like any super aggressive plugging for them. If you're going to use their art, just be cool. Custom set, symbol, and watermark. If you go to gameicons.net, they have a bunch of little symbols that you can use. You can just download a PNG from here and then upload it to Imgur. Get a URL that you can just spit into here and you'll have a custom set symbol and a custom watermark. I don't believe that these custom set symbols have a rarity indicator, so this isn't going to look silver, but the watermark should, if you click lighten, be transparent and look like it's in the background. So let's give this a test render and see what it looks like. Cool. Okay, so we've got a watermark, we've got a credit for Kev Walker, we've got the Llanowar elves, we've got our little set symbol. Everything's looking copacetic. And then from here, if we wanted to take this and post it on social media somewhere, you could save the image by right-clicking it. You could click download here. You could copy the image and then paste it on like Twitter or Reddit or something. Or you could click the save and share button. Wow, that's hard to say. And link the URL somewhere else. So let's take a look at what that looks like. If we go to my homepage, let's just look at this card. Yeah, so you see I've saved and shared this. And then I have a link to the image just right here. And yeah, you can just take stuff like this, post it on social media anywhere. If you're doing Mocktober, you can use the Mocktober hashtag or mention Mocktober when you're putting it on the Custom Magic subreddit. Anything along the lines of that will give you a really good way to just share the cards that you make for the event. I hope to see you out there, and good luck designing. I'm sure you guys will all do great.